The NHL trade deadline is exactly 2 months from today. With that in mind, it's time to take stock and find out which Canadian team should be buying, selling, or holding between now and March the 7th. Marty, let's begin with the Montreal Canadiens. In just 3 weeks, they went from best shot in the draft lottery to a playoff spot right now. Should they be looking to buy, sell, or hold, Marty?
I know I'm going to anger some fans, but I'm saying selling. And when I say selling, it's not because I think that you should quit on the season, but I think that you can move pieces and still continue to perform. Look, David Savard hasn't played in the last 3 games, and they've been able to have success, right? So I think that as an UFA with David Savard, you can fetch a pretty good return, and it's not going to affect your back end. I still think with Hudson and with Mac Madison and with Caden Gooley and the group of 6, you're going to be fine. So I look at Savard, I look at Yoel Armia, I look at Christian Dvorak. That has to go. That you have to sell and get assets for those, and then in return, maybe those assets can help you in the future. But I wouldn't trade Jake Evans. So I'm not selling Jake Evans. I'm keeping him. I'm signing him. But I would still sell if I'm the Montreal Canadiens.
All right, you want to see the Habs sell. Let's talk about Ottawa. On December 1st, the Sens were second to last in the East. They've also climbed into contention for a wildcard spot. But they got injury worries surrounding Linus Ullmark. Should the Sens, right now, for the next 2 months, be buyers, sellers, or should they hold?
They should be buyers. And I know you're not selling Claude Giroux. He's a UFA, but he's not going anywhere. And Gaudette has performed so well, so that's another UFA. He's not going anywhere. But I think that you need an upgrade in net. Look, I know Linus Ullmark, there's a big question mark. When does he return? But until then, you need an upgrade. I'm not convinced on Anton Forsberg and if he's going to get the job done, and those points are going to be really important. And even down the stretch, if something else happens to Linus Ullmark in March or in early April, you need somebody that's going to give you safe. So I'm buying, and I'm also buying, maybe some depth on defense and, a middle 6 forward. So I'm looking at Ottawa saying, let's buy, let's not wait. This spot is yours for the taking in the Eastern Conference. You have to make that push for the playoffs this year.
All right, you're pretty definitive in Ottawa and in Montreal. Things are a little confusing in Calgary. At the start of the season, the word was the Flames will continue to sell and look to the future. But we're halfway through the season, and they're challenging. You can't help but wonder what they could do if they could get in a little bit of help. Should Calgary buy, sell, or hold, Marty?
Well, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I'm saying sell for the future. There's a couple of pieces you can move, UFA guys. Maybe you move on Barry. Kuzmenko has trade protection, but you can maybe move on from him. But I look at the assets that you've already accumulated. You have 2 first-rounder in 2025, 2 first-rounder in 2026. How about you sell now, you accumulate assets, and then you buy. You maybe even buy before the trade deadline, but it's not for this year. It's for next year and the year after. So I'm looking to sell for the future if I'm the Calgary Flames. I know you're right there in a playoff race, and it would be awesome if Calgary could make the playoffs. But I think you have a really, really solid step forward this season, unexpected in a certain way. I think you got to continue to build for the future. So sell for the future right now if you're the Calgary Flames.
What about Vancouver? There's so much going on so many different levels there, Marty. Despite finishing first in the Pacific last season and being just a win away from the conference final, they're now barely hanging on to a wild card spot and facing a lot of internal turmoil. Which way should they go now? Should they buy, sell, or hold, Marty?
I would buy if I'm the Vancouver Canucks. And I know that there's a lot of internal decisions you got to make. Maybe there's even a hockey trades to be made at some point. But I am not looking to sell. I think the Vancouver Canucks are a really good team that have not been able to have their star goaltender pretty much the first half of the season. And when he's been there, has he been fully healthy? I know Kevin Lankinen's played great, but you need to add. And I know that if Elias Pettersson comes back, if he's with the Canucks or not, you still need a top 6, right? Is Pettersson playing center or is he wing? That's going to decide what kind of top 6 you need to go get. But I look at their group of 12 up front, and I say I would love the Vancouver Canucks to add in the top 6 department, probably on the wing, and move Pettersson to the middle. Look at what you can do there. There's a lot of options. But there could even be a hockey trade to be made there, and I think that would help the Vancouver Canucks kind of revamp their look a little bit. but I'm buying. I'm buying if I'm the Canucks right now. Maybe a little depth on defense as well. You've got Aronik and you've got Hughes and you've got the top end, but you need a little depth on defense to help supporting them.
Taking stock of the buyers, sellers, and holders with Martin Biron, 2 months out of the NHL trade deadline.